Good morning, everyone. I hope you have had a wonderful night's rest and are ready for this presentation. My name is Vincent Isom. I'm the director of the IU Bloomington 21st Century Scholars Program, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of my program and the Community Schools Partnership Program, as well as the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. Today, we're going to be talking about careers. We have a wonderful set of speakers for you today, and I want to speak to you about what the 21st Century Scholars Program does with programming towards career exploration. So one of the benefits about becoming a 21st Century Scholar is that from the point that you sign up, there is a focus on career and academic excellence to set you up to be a competitive candidate once you come into college and graduate from college. We here at Indiana University Bloomington, we have an academic advisor that is devoted towards career development and programming. Her name is Rachel Boveja, and we have everything from a diversity career fair sponsored by the Office of the Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Multicultural Affairs, which is where my program and Community and School Partnerships program is housed under. And that career event had over 1,700 students participate. We had over 300 employers there specifically to serve 21st Century Scholars and those students under that umbrella of OVP-DEMA. So we are intentional about positioning 21st Century Scholars for success, starting in the middle school and heading on through high school and into the college and beyond. So with that said, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Julia Jennings.
Thank you, Vince. Good morning, everyone. We're so glad that you could join us today. As Vince said, I'm Julia Jennings. I'm Director of Community and School Partnerships, and we focus on pre-college initiatives and helping you to be successful in prepping for college and career. And so we've got some of our colleagues on the back end helping with the chat today. So if you have any questions during any of the conversation this morning, you're welcome to put those in the chat, and we will have some dedicated Q&A for our conversation. But before I introduce today's presenters, I want to do a little bit of a recap of our last session. So last Saturday, our conversation focused on student success and study skills. Derek Robinson and Nikki Davenport from IU Bloomington's 21st Century Scholars Program shared with us the importance of developing good study skills and helped us debunk some study myths, such as being able to study everything the night before a big test, and that studying is only about reading and writing. I particularly love the tip about finding fun ways to just learn new materials, such as creating songs related to class content. So that was a lot of great information. We also heard from Greg Harrell from the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. Greg shared with us the Scholar Success Program that's designed to help us plan, prepare, and pay for college. And specifically, we focused on the graduation plan activity and how that sets a scholar up for success from their freshman year of high school. If you were unable to join us or you wanted to watch those sessions again, we'll be distributing that information to those who selected that option in the RSVP. You can also call us at 812-856-5935 or email us at cpartner@indiana.edu for more information. And please note that those sessions, all of these sessions, don't require you to have attended a previous one to be able to participate. However, we do encourage that you participate in as many as possible to be able to benefit from the wonderful presenters and resources we have to share. Today, we're going to be focusing on exploring career opportunities. First, we're going to hear from Michael Moore, who is the Assistant Director for the IU Career Development Center. Michael is going to help us learn how we can start to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's a big question. And for the second portion of our time together, we will learn from Marcia Debnam on how parents and guardians can be career partners with their students. Marcia is a career coach for the IU Walter Center for Career Achievement at IU and has a wealth of knowledge about building relationships to help your student be successful. So with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Michael. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone out there. Some of you I can see, some of you I just see your names, and that's just real okay. Hey, listen, it is totally an honor to be here hanging out with you all today. And as Julia said, I'm a career coach, the assistant director at the Career Development Center. So listen to this, all day long, I have the great honor of hanging out with college students. Students, very much just like you, who want to talk about all the exciting things that they have planned for their future. Now, usually we do a lot of this kind of in person, so this is a little janky for all of us having to meet remotely through this teleconferencing. But what I'm going to do is totally turn you on to some information that we like to talk about and share with students. So by a show of hands, for those of you that I can actually see, how many of you have actually heard someone in your life say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Anybody heard that? All the time, right? All the time. So tell me, on your screen, can you see my PowerPoint, Designing Your Future? You see that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of the language and a little bit of the pressure that really kind of lives with all of us. And this whole notion of, saying, what are you going to be when you grow up? Ultimately, for most of us, that really creates this pressure kind of filled environment where we feel like we have to narrow it down and be able to say there's this one thing we want to do. And when we think of it in that context, then we typically want to think of, well, what are all of the things that I need to do to make that career dream happen? Well, ultimately, that kind of looks something like this for most of us. I want to put these building blocks in place. And you already learned about sort of the importance of academic preparation and studying. We talked about that before, right? And so obviously that's going to fit as one of those blocks around here. But in reality, career success and the way you get there really resembles something a bit more like this. A little bit more twisty and turny. And actually, if you think about it in your life, you have plenty of evidence of this already. I sometimes say to students, think about your favorite pizza topping. Yeah, favorite pizza topping. I love pizza. And let me tell you, most people will say, well, I like pepperoni or I like sausage. Some people sometimes say, oh, I like to put pineapple on my pizza. And then I'll say, hey, so think about that. Has that always been your favorite pizza topping? And sometimes people will say, oh yes, that's it. And for the rest of my life, that'll be my favorite pizza topping. But most people say, oh no, I used to like just cheese, or I used to just like broccoli on my pizza. Well, how did you go about finding out and discovering that you like something different? And people come to that conclusion in a variety of different ways, but almost always it involves this element of exploring. Now, here's where that's really super exciting for you, because this process of exploring is actually what most people who have successful careers have done. And you're in a great position to engage in all kinds of exploring in a way that empowers you and makes you marketable for that time when you're looking for your future job. Just your sheer presence today, you're attending this workshop, is such a great example of you exploring. So what we're going to talk about briefly today, and I'm going to keep a really close eye here on the time because I can talk all day long about this, is some of the things that go into being better explorers as we prepare for our future successful careers. So here's that thing. Remember, this is always this pressure. Ultimately, in the world of exploring, one of the first things you want to let go of is trying to name a specific, one singular thing that you want to do, because ultimately that limits your options. So let me give you an example. Maybe you're thinking, dude, so when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. Well, ultimately what you want to do is you want to blow that out of the water. That's not a bad dream at all. but blow it out of the water and make it bigger so that maybe I want to do something in the world of healthcare. Okay, makes sense? So one of the best ways to start with all of this is better examining who we are. Who am I? What are the things that are important to me? What are the skills that I have? What are things that I find interesting? How do I interact with the world around me? And we typically talk about that in the context of what we call VIPs, values, interests, personality, and skills. And you're going to hear that come up over and over again, particularly when you get here to college. But that's something that you can do on your own and kind of as you're preparing for college. Now, I bet you there's a whole bunch of people out there writing down notes. Don't worry about it. After this is all done, this session is actually going to be recorded, and we've got some nifty handouts that you'll have access to as well. But what I want to walk you through today a little bit is what some of these things are. Now, personality, I'm going to start there for a second. And personality, when we talk about your personality, we're not talking about, oh, you got some personality. We're talking about the way you interact with the world around you. How do you take in information? How do you go about making decisions? Where do you get your energy? And that's the thing that's always sort of this work in progress. So as you mature, as you get older, you're going to better understand those things. And college, such a great opportunity for you to learn more about yourself. Where I want to focus today a little bit is on all of these VIPs with the exception of personality. Values, those are the things that are important to you. Interests, what do you like? What do you like to do? Skills, what are you good at doing? What would you like to learn to do better? What are skills maybe you've never even thought about that you would like to add to your set of your skill set? So let's talk about values for a second. You can kind of have to do this on your own since we're not really interacting back and forth, and there's really not a need to use chat for this one. What I'm going to do is start to read off some qualities of a specific major that might exist here at Indiana University. Now, what I want you to do for yourself is maybe raise your hand, and you don't want to be standing there all day long with your hand raised up while I go through these qualities. You can prop it up if you'd like. And I'm going to read off some qualities of this major. At the point that major just sounds, no, that's not me, just put your hand down. Now here's the deal. Once you put your hand down, you don't want to put it back up. You got to keep it down. And then at the very end, we're going to see in chat if we can guess which major we think this is, okay? And then after we do major, I picked out a career, a job. We're going to do the same thing again with that, okay? So here we go. So in this major, remember you got your hand up. So everybody should start off holding your hand up. Vince, there you go, Mr. Isom. Okay, good. All right. And those of you whose faces I can't see, I'm just going to assume behind the scenes you got your hand up. No cheating on this. Okay, good. All right, so for this major requires an appreciation for literacy theory. Ooh, that sounds fancy. For analyzing text and communicating opinions. So in this major, you're going to be communicating a lot of fancy things. All right, so if that's not rocking your world, you go ahead and put your hand down. Okay, still a lot of hands up. Okay. Through this major, students are going to learn how to perfect the universal skills of analysis, analyzing, and they're going to learn about communication that can help them succeed in their career. Oh, good. Oh, good. See, I see some more hands up. That's good. In this major, intellectual curiosity and imagination are skill sets that are needed to be successful. Lots of people with imagination. Good. The hand's still up. That's good. All right. So now in this major, you're going to be working kind of on your own. You're going to be working independently most of the time. That sometimes is a deal breaker for people. They're like, no, I don't want to work on my own. I like to work with other people. So if that doesn't rock your world, put your hand down there. Remember, if you put your hand down, you're not going to put it back up for a while. In this major, you're going to be getting experience outside of the classroom that will be very helpful in defining your career goals if you choose this major. So in this major, you're going to be doing stuff in class as well as doing stuff outside of class. Yep, still a lot of hands up. That's good. All right. So with this major, you can expect to earn about $35,000 to $57,000 annually. Oh, good. Well, that's good. Yeah, me too. My hand would definitely be up on this one. Okay, so with this major, there are many careers that are associated with it. And they tend to be in fields such as editing, teaching, or writing. All right, so if that's not rocking your world, you might, oh, I saw a hand or two go down. All right, if it's not rocking your world, you put your hand down. Okay, so last one, and then we're going to see if we can guess in chat what major we think this is. This is the biggest major on this campus in the arts and humanities. The largest major in the arts and humanities. Oh, all right, any guesses? Put some stuff there in chat, and moderators, those of you that are keeping all of that out, see what ideas you think might be out there for what this major might be. Nope, nope. Oh, I see some stuff popping up. Let's see what it says. Oh, I see communication. Oh, I see psychology. I see business. Oh, I see telecommunication. Oh, these are all great. Media. Look at this. Social work. Oh my goodness, the list is just going on and on. Okay, well, in reality, guess what this major is? It is English. Yeah, English. Remember that little twisty, curvy sort of thing? English, go figure. So your major is actually helping you towards your career. And sometimes we think your major is only going to dictate what your career is. Yay, Mr. Isom. Yes, yay, Mr. Isom. Good job. I love that guy. All right, so let's do this again. So put your hands back up. This time, we're going to do this with an actual job, okay? So this time, I'm going to read some qualities of a job. And if that just doesn't rock your world, you just put your hand down. No, don't forget you're keeping your hand down until we get all the way through, and then we're going to try and guess what we think the job is. Okay, so here are the qualities. For this job, you will earn a yearly starting salary of $65,000. Wow, nobody put their hand down. Okay, good. In this job, you're going to be working in an environment that is spacious with lots and lots of windows and lots of views. Oh, that rocks my world. I like being able to look out, see the world around me. Good. Okay. Now, in this job, it's going to require that you're actually sitting down most all of the time. So you're not going to be moving around a whole lot. You're just going to be sitting down. Oh, saw a hand go down. Yeah, some of us like to get up and move around. Some of us like that mobility. And that's stuff we take into consideration too with our careers, right? In this career, your schedule is going to include having to work on nights and weekends. Want to work on the nights? Want to work on the weekends? Oh, I see some hands going up. I don't know, up or down, right? Okay, so in this career, you will have a boss or a supervisor. Okay, so if that's not rocking your world, you're like, no, I want to be my own boss. This is where you put your hand down. All right, you, in this job, you'll have to pass a physical, and on a regular basis, you're going to have to take substance abuse tests. Oh, drug tests, and you're always going to have to take physical. Prove that you can, oh, look, oh, yeah, no, me too. I'd be down right there, because I'm not going to pass the physical. They'd say, Michael Moore, you need to do more sit-ups. All right, so we'll move on along here. In this job, you are going to be responsible for working with very, very expensive equipment, and you're responsible for the lives and the welfare of other people. It's a lot of responsibility. If that's scary to you, you're not loving on it, put your hand down. And then the last quality here is this position, this job is actually seen as one of the most stressful jobs in the United States. You're not loving on the idea of stress? Put your hand up. Okay, so let's get some guesses. What do we think? What do we think in chat? What do we think this job actually is? A career coach at the Career Development Center at IU. Maybe? Let's see. A 911 dispatcher. Oh, police officer. Yeah, those are pretty stressful. Yes. Yes. Okay, Lisa is my new favorite. Good for you, Lisa. It is an air traffic controller. An air traffic controller. You know, one of those people that sit in that big old tower at the airport and they monitor all those flights coming in and out, in and out. One of the most stressful. All right, so what is the point of this? So let's go back to this. What are these things? Think about in this, what we call giveaways, majors, job giveaways. This is actually an example of values, your values. And think of that as like these elements that are a part of your career dreams that we don't usually articulate. When we're out talking with people, we don't say, well, when I grow up, I want a job that's just not super stressful. Like, we don't start with that. But nonetheless, those values factor into this mix of how we're finding our ideal career. Now, remember, this is really all about understanding who we are and thinking about who we are as a part of career exploration. So this is an ongoing process that honestly, for most of us, it's much easier to figure out the things that are important to us by finding the things that aren't important to us. Sometimes we have to do things first, like, oh, maybe I take a psychology class and like, oh, no, I'm not loving on this psychology class. Sometimes that's the best way to clarify and narrow down some of these values. So good job, you all. You did great. Now, the other thing that we talk about, and just a head nod from somebody there with the camera, you can still see my screen just right? Good. Okay, we talk about interest. Now, one of the things that happens for all of us in our lifetime, the time that we've been on this planet, is we start to develop patterns in the things that actually rock our world, the things that we have as interests. And they share a lot of things in common. And the same is true in the world of work and the world of careers. And so one of the things in this exploration where you're continuing to learn about yourself is understanding those patterns and also discovering careers that are interesting. Now, I tell you, all day long, I get to hang out with a bunch of cool cats, just like you all. And nobody ever comes to me and says, please, Michael, can you help me find the most boring, least interesting career ever? Nobody ever says that. So interests are kind of important. But interests are always changing. So now what that's going to mean for you right now, while you're in school, and also when you get here to college, is that you want to explore and try out anything that's of interest to you. And there are a lot of people just like me that are going to help you do that. Those patterns of interest, like I said before, really align with a lot of different careers. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but your career coach, when you get here to campus, they'll help you better understand some of these interests and ways you can act on those. So skills. What do we mean when we say skills? Now, most of us have a very, very difficult time articulating our skills. But that's a good thing that you can think about now. What are things that you're good at doing? What are things that you could teach other people to do? You know, maybe it's sports. How many of you are good at playing basketball? Anybody out there? Okay, good. How many of you might be good at music, or you're good at listening to music? How many of you might be good with technology? And then think about, what are the things that I want to become better skilled at? And that's one of the things that college is going to help you do in a variety of different ways. And when you get here, you're going to work on skill development. Now, remember, the future successful professional in careers is going to be paying attention to all of these things: your values, your interests, your skills, and your personality, which was the way you interact with the world around you. And lots and lots and lots and lots of opportunities on campus to improve skill development. So let's move along. Now this slide, this is kind of boring slide, but I always like to show it because a lot of times when I'm talking with students, a lot of times when I'm talking with parents, they say, well, what are the most important skills? Well, this is actually from a survey done of employers who say these are the top skills that they're looking for. Well, now that's really fancy kind of language right now. So I'm not going to go over this slide a whole lot, but I want to move along and talk about some things that you can actually begin to do right now that's going to help you design your future career path and help you build skills while at the same time exploring your interests and at the same time better understanding who you are as it relates to your future career. Now remember, we want to try and avoid saying this one precise thing that we want to do for our future career. Blow it out of the water. I'm just not going to be a doctor. I'm really interested in the world of medicine, which might be a doctor. You might be a physical therapist. You might be an occupational therapist. You might be a nurse. You might be a researcher in the world of medicine, right? So here's some things right now, my friends. Well, here's some things if Michael can, that you can be doing while you're in school to help your future career. So volunteer work. How many of you volunteer or spend some time helping other people? Yeah, there we go. That's good. If you hadn't thought about doing that, that's a great way to explore your interests and to build skills that you're going to even talk about with your future employer. Surely some of you are involved in clubs and organizations at school. That's really, really good. At certain points, you may be have an opportunity to take on a part-time job. That's a great opportunity to do that. Now, I oftentimes talk to students, I'll say, have you ever had a part-time job? No, I've just been a babysitter. Oh, that's a part-time job? That's a great opportunity to learn skills. No, Mr. Moore, I only cut grass for my neighbors. That's a part-time job too. All of those part-time jobs give you an opportunity for skill development. The other thing that you can do is start to play Curious George. Be really curious about other people who might be doing the things that you might have an interest in doing and talk with them. Job shadowing is a unique way, probably not right now in the middle of a pandemic, for you to just go and chill and chat with people that are working, but this isn't going to be around. This is going to not be around forever. Having the opportunity to spend some time and hang out with somebody who's maybe doing something that you might have an interest in doing is a great way to learn about careers. And there's a lot of great information where you can research future career options. And I've included those resources in this presentation and in some of the materials that we'll distribute to you later on. Now, last time we talked about the importance of academic success, and that's truly, truly important, that you continue to focus your interests, focus your energy on your academic interests, and to push yourself outside your comfort zone to learn about anything that captures your interest. Now, when you get to college, some of the things that you're going to be doing to design your career is just going to be a great extension. You see a lot of similarities, right, between this and what you were doing right now. Maybe added to that, you might have an opportunity to come join a member of our faculty and do some research to learn more. Certainly, you might have the opportunity to gain experience through internships. Volunteering is going to continue. You might even have the opportunity to go abroad, to study in another country and learn about different cultures, all of which are skills and competencies that your future employers say is important for you to have. So here's some examples for those of you that are just furiously taking notes. Again, I'll remind you that you'll have access to this. This is one of the ways online, one of the resources that we offer to all of our students, where you can kind of go and play around with different career options and see the many different paths that get there. We call these career communities, and I think Marcia will probably talk some here in a little bit about some of the career communities that exist at the Walter Center, which is a very, very great career services office on campus. Another one that you can access is the Indiana Career Explorer. And you'll notice if you see up in the upper left-hand corner, I went in and even played around just in anticipation of this presentation to get some screen captures to show you what it's like. None of these things that I've showed you cost you any money at all. And it's a great way to do some of that self-reflection. Who am I? What are the things that are important to me? What are interests that I have? What are skills that I feel good and comfortable about? What are some skills that I might want to explore a little bit differently? And again, I'll remind you, you'll have access to all this information in terms of the web addresses later on. But I think this is a great place to start and a really fun kind of way to learn a bit more about some of your career interests. And then there's also another tool that I'm giving you access to that's a great resource that many incoming IU first-year students will use, that you would have access to as well, where you can look, and if you see on the left-hand side of the screen, there are these places where you can actually choose the things that are of interest to you. And as you're choosing that, on the right-hand side of the screen, different majors are kind of popping up to give you some idea. Now, within those majors, you can click on those majors and learn and read more about them. And from that, that's also giving you direct access to people who are teaching the material in those majors. So some really good tools. So that's kind of my spiel for today. Let's see if there are any immediate questions sort of in the chat, or if anybody of the rest of the group wants to chime in as we transition over to Marsha. Anything?
Just as Mr. Moore was saying, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or if you'd like to ask them directly, you're welcome to unmute yourself. If you have any troubles, let us know. We can help you do that unmute. I'll start off with a question, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So as you started off, you were talking about, we often get the question of, what do you want to be when you grow up? And that's a tough question, because it does make us feel like it's a very linear, one path, we know what we have to do kind of thing.
Right.
What if we started asking or helping those around us who are asking that question by answering, like, what problems do we want to solve? Because there's some things that maybe we have a lot of interest in, as you mentioned, like maybe we want to help end poverty, or we want to improve environment and things like that. And there are a lot of different careers associated with those, correct?
Absolutely. And that all goes back to better understanding, who am I? Who am I? What's important to me? How do I want to contribute to the world around me? And not just reflecting on that, but then acting on that. So, okay, and because, maybe I can't be the president of the United States right now, but maybe I could take on a leadership opportunity in my school. So not only just reflecting on it, but then acting on whatever that self-discovery is. And that's really important. Now, Julia, I'd encourage you to keep a real open mind, though, because sometimes, as we learn about things, we want to go all in. It's like, oh yes, it's only pepperoni pizza. I'm not about to try anything else. Well, what happens for most of us then is we become very sort of siloed and myopic in our thinking and looking at the world of careers. Think like a telescope. If you're looking through a telescope, you might only see one star. Well, we want to expand that lens to see all the stars and all the possibilities. So just keep an open mind. But absolutely, the more we do and then act on those things that are of interest to us, the better off we are. Now, there's some emerging research right now from employers that says that's the approach that they're looking for their future employees. Is they're looking for people who come in with not just one way of thinking, but multiple ways of thinking. Not just one skill, but multiple skills. And in fact, one of the most recent things for many of you that are participants, 20% of the jobs that you're going to apply for upon graduation have yet to even be created. Oh, why is that? Well, because you're going to be creating them. Because you're the innovators of our future, and those careers are going to be developing right alongside you. And so the more open-minded you are and the more you explore, the better prepared you're going to be to change it up along with the career. Good question. What other questions?
Excellent points that you've got there. Yeah, any other questions from the group?
How about this cool cat up here? I can see you over here on our screen with a nice smiley face and the dark glasses. Says Bryant. Maybe it's Bryant, maybe it's not. Do you have any questions? No?
Well, it's all right. We can also, if you
You'll think of stuff.
I was gonna say, if questions do come up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Moore, are you sticking around with us for
I sure am. I will be here through the whole thing, and you may think of something later on. You just let me know.
All right, will do. Thank you so much for that great information.
You're going to enjoy speaking with Marcia. She's just so awesome.
I echo that. I met Marcia last year and was able to sit in on some of her presentation. I'm excited to hear any updates that she's got, and I know that you all will enjoy that as well. So, Marcia, I will turn the mic over to you.
All right, thank you. Oops. And let's get this show started. I apologize for that little glitch there. Hi, I'm Marcia Debnam. I'm from the Walters Center for Career Achievement. That's in the College of Arts and Sciences. And today I have really tailored my conversation to parents. And I have to say, Michael, you kind of covered a lot of the same information. So I hope I can present something that they will feel is new information. So I'm here to invite parents to be our career partners, because we very much see career exploration, development as a partnership with many people involved. So your students, and if you are the student, obviously, you already have many people in your lives who are trusted voices and sources that you can turn to for information, for advice, and to get help. People who are reliable and consistent, they care about you. And so parents, obviously, guardians and family members, you're front row on that. And add to that middle school teachers and soon to be high school teachers, as well as school counselors, perhaps coaches, music directors, and so forth. We include community leaders in this as well. And for example, these might be folks who are in faith communities, but it could also be any local organization that you as parents have interacted with. And obviously, we are very much looking forward to your students being here at IU, where we will add career coaches and academic advisors to those voices, to those sources. It's very important that students understand that we want to surround them with a lot of people who are here with them in every step of the college process, including academics, extracurriculars, finding jobs, and so forth, and also, obviously, in this presentation, career progress. As a career coach, our job is to help your student with their career progress. So we do many things, and Michael has already covered many of them. So I'm going to focus on just a few in this outline, talking about gaining self-knowledge. This obviously does include exploring majors, but for the most part, when we talk about self-knowledge, we are talking about values and interests and skills, and we like to talk about strengths as well. As career offices, we offer a variety of assessments where students can look at themselves in a new way and sort of start to match their interests and skills and experiences to opportunities for possibilities in industries or in work environments that they might be interested in, and also to open their eyes to new worlds out there. We strongly encourage students to learn about and try on careers. Michael, you also spoke about job shadowing, which we hope will come back in the future, but also part-time jobs internships, and there are many ways to try on careers, even through social media and interacting online. We're big on helping students understand and be able to tell their story. By telling their story, we mean being able to share how their classes, their classwork and projects, how their extracurricular activities and jobs and experiences, even in life, help them to become better prepared to take on roles in professional arenas. This is important for interviewing, to be able to talk about examples of opportunities they've enjoyed in the past and how they've applied themselves with regard to class projects, to being a part of a student organization, developing various leadership skills, teamwork skills, many other skills, to be able to basically share what they can bring to the table, so to speak, for an employer who's interested in hiring them. We are also heavily involved in helping students develop application materials, including resumes. And there is an S on that word, because we talk about developing master resumes and tailored resumes to specific opportunities. Also cover letters, helping students to write letters to accompany their resumes. And we do help with the graduate school materials, for example, personal essays or personal statements or statements of purpose, and helping students to develop what has increasingly become even more important in this time, a professional online presence. We know there's no turning back with regard to the virtual environment. Students are already very involved in social media with their friends. And of course, at IU, we went online for all of our classes. And there are going to be more and more ways to present yourself online. So we hope to help students understand how to articulate who they are in their profiles, and also in how they message or write to or communicate with professionals, with alumni, and to show themselves as people who employers will seek out ultimately. We talked about values, interests, skills, and I'll add strengths to a student's development, self-knowledge, if you will. And these are really important when comparing these personal areas with major and career decision-making. And here are the ways that these sort of fit. So values predict career satisfaction, interests predict career choices, strengths predict career fit, and skills predict career success. Let me elaborate a bit more. So what are these? Values are opinions and beliefs about what's important in life. There are literally hundreds of values that one can hold. There are both personal values and also work values. Some common ones are faith, wealth, fitness, and service. But in the workplace, a value might be work-life balance, having some flexibility in what you do every day, autonomy, and whether you have a voice in how you pursue your work. There might be other kinds of values, such as do your work demands conflict with your family values? In addition, we talk about interests, and obviously Michael covered that really well. Some interests that might excite your curiosity or attention could be adventure or creativity, but they could also be things like problem solving or dealing with numbers. Strengths are the ability to perform an activity with consistency and excellence. When we talk about strengths, we're really talking about things that kind of start out as natural talents, but over time, by developing these abilities, they become strengths that can be extremely valuable in the workplace. Skills are what you know how to do, and there are many skills. I believe, Michael, you referred to skills such as problem solving. There are some big lists out there that employers have said are critical skills as far as what they look for in potential hires. And these include things like teamwork, communication skills, critical thinking, being able to work with people from diverse backgrounds, technical skills, technology skills, and so on. So we help students to become aware of these and to be able to articulate these. Certainly they're already, and we encourage you as parents to, once the world kind of gets back into gear, to have your students feel comfortable participating in school activities as they are presented. These include things like sports, clubs, school clubs, music. When I was in high school, I was a member of the student council and the 4-H club and the debate team. So there are many ways that students might want to participate in high school activities. And then volunteering. There cannot be enough said for the value of volunteering, especially in today's world. It really provides students with confidence and a sense of pride and involvement in their local surroundings, and sort of also this notion that they're contributing to the betterment of their community. In the meantime, they are gaining great skills of teamwork and leadership and organizational skills along with others. Job shadowing, once that is available again, we help students to find ways to shadow a professional in which whose career they're interested in. These can be in the medical community, in pretty much any industry where that's allowed. Certainly there might be a few cases with regard to, say, client attorney privilege and or I'm trying to think of psychological counseling where you can't sit in on those sessions, but still there might be opportunities to work in those offices and to learn how those careers work. We talk a lot about part-time jobs. We know from statistics that students who work while in college develop really strong time management skills, as well as financial management skills. And perhaps you can think of other examples. I'd love to see those, if you can think of ways that students can gain experience. Once students are on campus, we really are all about them exploring the professional world and the world. Clearly, the world right now isn't very much suited to flying to other countries and so forth, but we hope that things will change. So we focus a lot on students getting involved in activities and organizations. IU has hundreds of student organizations, ranging from things that have to do with academic groups. For example, I've been involved with the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students and the National Association of Black Journalists. There are many, many departmentally allied student organizations, but there are also organizations like Ballroom Dance and the Spelunking Club. There might be, there's political organizations. There's so many ways that students can gain valuable skills. Informational interviews are tremendous in allowing students to access the world of work in a very low impact way. Students actually reach out to alumni, to professionals, just to learn about what they do, what trends or changes are occurring in their industries. And we help students find these opportunities. We have something in the Walter Center called the Walter Center Success Network, which is hundreds of alumni who have signed up just to speak with students. We also encourage students, as we said, to volunteer, to get jobs part-time, and to do internships. Internships are huge. I strongly encourage students to, from day one, come to our office and learn about many ways to do internships. And even now, during this virtual environment, a lot of employers have started doing what's called micro internships. They are virtual and online projects that are short-term that allow students to still gain professional experience, but not have to move to a different city. And so there are ways that the world of work is changing, and I don't think we're going to go back. There will remain more and more remote work opportunities that will have high quality for students to gain skills and experience from their home or wherever they're located in their apartments or dorms. And we hope that the travel abroad, study abroad will return not too distant future. I'd like to talk briefly about the benefits of an internship. As an undergraduate, I did not understand the value of internships. I did participate, but it wasn't until later that I really began to understand just how valuable those experiences were for me personally. One, students get to apply what they've learned in classes, their knowledge, their class projects. their interaction with guest speakers, their research, lab research, or personal research projects, to apply these to the real world. These are valuable to employers. And also it helps students clarify their career choices. No internship is really a wasted experience. Sometimes it's good to know what's not appealing as well as what is. Certainly internships provide valuable experience and skills. So a lot of times when students are young, when they are new, they come to college, and as Michael so aptly put it, they have a ton of transferable skills from jobs they don't even realize. These could be babysitting or landscaping experience or working in fast food. And there are many skills from those experiences that transfer to the world of work. But skills and experience from internships are what we call next level. When students are working directly in a professional setting with the expectations that that industry or that company or organization requires to fulfill their mandates. It also has a tremendous benefit of building a network of professionals. And speaking of network, I would like to talk about how important that is and how we as career offices like to facilitate networking opportunities for students. So networking is many things, but in real terms, it's an action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional relationships. So it's not one-sided. We strongly encourage students when reaching out to professionals, to alums, to employers, or meeting them in an event or at any kind of situation, whether it's impromptu. There are people who've met professionals in airports or in restaurants and had wonderful conversations, that it's important that students know how to share information about themselves, as well as ask for advice, ask about the person's career journey and experience, and develop long-lasting relationships. One of the benefits of networking is what we call the hidden job market. 50 to 80% of jobs are filled without being advertising. That might come as a surprise to a lot of people. It certainly does to a lot of students. Many students like to apply for jobs just by submitting a resume to a website or to an online portal. And that's okay, but it oftentimes misses a golden opportunity to learn about jobs that aren't published. Sometimes these are jobs that are being formed because of restructuring within a company or organization. Sometimes it might be because somebody is planning a career change or being promoted and it hasn't been announced. And many times, department heads or people in hiring positions haven't been given clearance necessarily to post it, or they're still thinking about how they want to shape the position. So by interacting, by networking, students can learn about opportunities, and guess what? They often will be considered for these opportunities because they've taken the time to reach out to employers and to get to know their organization. At IU, your students will build on the network they already have. I spoke at the beginning about trusted sources and voices. So once on campus in Bloomington, certainly if students are in the 21st Century Scholars Program, that's an immediate network. They have a whole cadre of folks, advisors, counselors, people who are on the ready to answer questions and to ensure that students are successful from day one. Add professors, instructors, certainly these are resources that students should never overlook. And we encourage them to attend office hours to get to know their professors. And we are obviously career advisors in the various offices. There are many academic advisors throughout campus. Alumni are a critical piece these days because alumni from our university have an affinity for their alma mater. And they want to give back. They want to help students. So we help facilitate that through the career offices on campus. And then students often don't realize that other students, their own peers, are a part of their network. And in the future, these students will be sharing leadership positions, perhaps hiring each other, telling each other about opportunities. It's a great way to start this network while in college. And there are other kinds of campus staff all over campus that might not be directly aligned with the students' immediate network, but they are there. For example, There are staff in many departments or auxiliary parts of campus, such as Office of Admissions, Recreational Sports, Office of Financial Services, Dean of Students. There are many, many ways that students, residential hall staff, that students can access and get help and get information. And I threw in career events because so many things happen during the context of events. Meeting new people, learning about opportunities, and having just kind of a new world open up, whether it's a small event or a large event. Vince mentioned career fairs. Those are very important. Students have an opportunity to kind of have a one-stop shop and access to many employers at one time. But we also have smaller events, some with alumni. Sometimes these career events take place in classes through Zoom access, or sometimes when the classes open again, we have folks come in person. So there are many ways that students can get involved in events. I am from the College of Arts and Sciences, the Walter Center. The Bloomington campus is very blessed because when your student chooses a major and is admitted to a school, each school has their own career services office that are dedicated to the needs of students in those majors and those units. The Career Development Center is a fabulous resource for students who are exploratory or students who have questions pertaining to many different kinds of career things on campus. The Walter Centers for College of Arts and Sciences. There's the Jacobs School for music, the Kelly School, undergraduate career services. There's the Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, Engineering, the O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs, the School of Education, and the School of Public Health. All of these units on campus have their very own career services offices. But I will share that we have a very collaborative environment. We work together. We share resources and information for the benefit of all of our students on campus. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share, but mostly to tell your students very soon, as soon as they're on campus, to start to engage with their career center. We want them to start early and come often, ask us questions. We are available online as well as in person, so that they can discover and apply for opportunities, so that they can attend and learn about online and in-person events. We also, for students who like a structured approach, have a whole bunch of career courses. I teach a freshman career course, and it's such a joy to work with freshmen and sophomores who are doing career exploration. And because I'm a career coach, this is near to my heart, which is we really want students to meet with us in all stages of career progress, because sometimes students just don't know what to ask, or they are getting information from peers or from other sources, and there can be a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's a little difficult to sort out. We want to very much be a part of your students' trusted sources on campus. That's it for me. Any questions?
As folks start to think about their questions, I wanted to say thank you so much for this. It's important that we do serve as champions for our students, and sometimes we don't know ourselves maybe the best approach or the resources that we have available. So these are really helpful. And I think your point of starting early and often with the career planning and coaching is ties really well with what we heard last week with study skills, right? You know, you don't wait till the night before to cram for a big test. You practice those skills little by little throughout and build that strength like a muscle. So thank you so much, Marcia.
My pleasure.
So
Marcia or Michael, you talked a lot about the IU networks that students and families can plug into. Maybe touch a bit, either one of you, on how parents can help their students tap into their own professional networks and things that they can do there right at home, whether it's through a faith-based organization they're involved with or something with their job or so forth.
Sure. I'd be happy to start. And Michael, I really hope you'll also chime in on this. I mentioned students already have a network, and many students don't think in terms of networking. Obviously, I didn't at that age, but people that are in students' lives as authority figures, sometimes people who are known to them because of their natural progression through life. So these can be teachers, coaches, these can be people in houses of worship, these can be people that they've worked for, supervisors, people that they know as neighbors, as family friends. Sometimes it's just a really good idea for students to reach out and have conversations informally. The nice thing about this, we call this the warm network. There's no ice breaking needed. Students can simply reach out to someone they know. It can be an aunt, uncle, it could be someone at a hair salon. I've seen some amazing networking done, including at hair salons and places that we do business with, because people who themselves may not be in industries that we think we're interested in, oftentimes know a lot of other people. And sometimes just by saying, I'm thinking about becoming a veterinarian, or I'm thinking about being a lawyer, or anything. Do you know anyone who might have information or who's done this kind of work? And people who are in our warm network have deep affection and affinity for us. So more than not, they're extremely happy to make a connection, to in fact, make an introduction. And so we really encourage students to just look around and see who you know, and perhaps someone is in a position that you're interested in, and you can ask them if they would mind sharing their career journey and so forth.
Absolutely, absolutely. That extension of your network can oftentimes even extend during the time that you're in college as well. That's a great way to pick up mentors and people who are going to nurture your growth and your development professionally. And like Marcia said, we really do want to keep an open mind too. You may never have considered, maybe you're talking with someone and they say they're an air traffic controller, and you'd never ever consider that as a career option. That just the curiosity alone of exploring, what does an air traffic controller do, is a good skill for you to develop now, that it's really going to pay off for you when you get into college, because you really, really want to be in the position to be able to do that, to expand career options as well. And just remember, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else. And you're really extending your network quite a bit just by talking to the people in your warm network who may know other people, and those people, they may know other people. And there are a lot of different ways to do. We spend a lot of time with college students talking about the most professional way to extend that network. But in your case, you can use just about any approach at all. It might be over email that you reach out to a family or loved one. It may be through your favorite social media platform that you initiate that contact. It might be while you're volunteering. It's just that natural curiosity that's helping to build that network that's going to empower you with lots and lots of information and lots of options, as well as additional networking resources.
Michael, if I'm a middle school student, what resource at IU, what page should I go to look at potential opportunities for me to gain career knowledge?
Career knowledge, yes. And correct me if I'm wrong, some of these slides, will all participants have access to this PowerPoint, and there's a resource sheet that I've also created. Some of those things that I shared in my presentation, where you can go and just explore career majors. One of them, and I've taken that presentation off my screen, but one of them exists at the Career Development Center, and that's where you can look at careers and career interests, and that directly links to the academic majors, as well as student groups, professional associations, other ways. So it's a very, very powerful resource that we use if it was a self-guided kind of thing, like you wanted to research on your own. Now, if you get lost with that, just certainly reach out to anyone that's a part of this IU family and your support network here, and we can kind of redirect you to those resources. And it's there's a lot of time and a lot of energy on the part of people to put that together in one place, so that you're not having to hop all over the world everywhere looking for this thing that you want. Mr. Isom, does that give you what you were thinking about?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Perfect. You know, one of the questions that I'm often asked, Marcia, feel free to chime in with this, is by parents and students both, is how is a career coach different than a high school guidance counselor? And it is very, very different. High school guidance counselors, as many of you may know, are oftentimes tasked with trying to help many, many, many different students. And oftentimes the information becomes very prescriptive, very similar to for each student. The difference for us as a career coach, much of that is really tailored individually to you, the individual student. And the journey towards career satisfaction and career success can oftentimes be a very frightening and very scary experience. So when I'm talking with students and parents, I like to remind them, it's like, well, there's no reason that it needs to be scary. That's why you have a career coach. That's why these offices are here to mentor and guide you. And we do it oftentimes just together. And we do have the power of the Indiana University Network, an extensive alumni network, and an exhaustive family of university staff members who are all here to support your success. Marsh, do you want to chime in with anything on that?
Sure. I 100% echo every single thing you said. And I'm going to add this element, which is going to sound this way, but we have a lot of joy in helping students. And I'm sure that all school counselors do as well. But we take pride in getting to know students individually and looking for ways to give them the resources they need, including email exchanges, not just in-person meetings, but following up with opportunities that we've spoken about that they may not be aware of, to tag them on events, to let them know that we're thinking about them. And we really encourage them to take advantage of all of our resources. We actually think of our Career Center as a family. And we want students to feel like this is a go-to place. This is their career home, that they don't even need an appointment. They can stop in, they can ask a question. We really take pride in helping students to see that we are a part of their IU experience, and nothing's too small, nothing's too big. And we do obviously share a lot of resources. My population happens to be biology, microbiology, molecular life sciences, and animal behavior. But all of us see all students, and we collaborate a lot with our whole team, with our entire coaching team. When there's something that maybe is not our area of expertise, we reach out to others and ask for information, for resources. We share a lot of internal resources. So for us, it's very much about a commitment to each student individually.
And Indiana University is fairly unique in the country with this approach to career services. Many universities have a career services office, but it's the type of thing where you would go to the career service office near the end of your academic career to pursue internships and employment opportunities. And Indiana University is very, very unique. Maybe only one other school in the country, Rutgers, has a model that's very similar to ours, which starts with career success and exploration at the very, very, very beginning. And what's great about that is that's exactly what your future employers are saying that they expect for you to be doing. And when you talk to other college students, that's exactly what they say they want to be doing. It's like, I don't want to be going to school for 3 or 4 years and worry about my career at the very, very end. They want to start working. So it's a very unique partnership on this campus, and I can't echo enough what Marcia says. We all work together across all these offices to make sure that we're delivering the best quality career services with genuineness to each and every one of the students that are a part of our IU family.
Michael, thank you so much, because that brought something else to my mind, that as career professionals, certainly we have our areas of competencies and our areas of expertise, but we view students as whole people. And when a student comes to us with a concern or a problem or an issue, we very much want to see that they get in front of the right people. So we have referral networks that we put students in touch with. We want to make sure that there's nothing holding students back from their success as individuals. So we work throughout the campus with various partners in many different offices. We've been increasingly working with disability services, for example, because we want students to understand that there is nothing that is off the table if they need help.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from the students, the middle school students or their parents at this point for our guest speakers? Okay. Questions still will be available, but at this time I want to transition to our students. We have 3 students that are here that are going to share a little bit about their experience at Indiana University and the different things that they've been engaged with. Marsha outlined a number of things that students can be engaged with, and these students have been engaged in a number of those elements. So I have one student who has just graduated in May, who is Dakota, and she's going to share, I'm going to have each of these students introduce themselves. I have another student that is just returning from a study abroad opportunity in Olivia. And then I have a sophomore who is going to share her experience thus far. So all 3 of these young folks, if you would take the opportunity to introduce yourselves, share a little bit about your involvement and some words of wisdom that you have for middle school students in pursuing career exploration. Let's start again with Dakota.
Hi everyone, like Mr. Isom said, my name is Dakota Swamula. I'm originally from Elkhart, Indiana, and I just graduated from the Kelley School of Business at IU with a dual degree in management and marketing. I think one of the things that I picked up on most here was when we were talking about warm leads and networking, and that's actually how I got my first internship. Was my mom's boss's sister had a company in Indianapolis, and I applied for their internship program and then got my first internship through that way. So like they said, that you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from, and I think parents can be really great advocates for students in that way as well.
Olivia?
Hi guys, my name is Olivia. I'm a psychology and criminal justice student at Indiana University. And they mentioned networking and how we have IU alum all throughout the world. And Mr. Isom mentioned that I studied abroad. I went to Spain. And when I was leaving to come back to the US, I was getting emotionally in the airport because I was leaving behind all the friends I had made. And it was just a sad time for me. And a woman came up to me. This was in Barcelona in Spain, and she was an IU alum, and she just came up to talk to me. She didn't know me, I didn't know her, and we found out we had this connection through each other, that we both went to IU Bloomington. It still blows my mind thinking about it, like 2 different sides of the country, and we met up. So the network with IU is very real. It happens in the most random of places. Yeah, I hope you guys learn a lot from this, because college is an amazing place to be. It's a place where you grow academically, professionally, and personally. And 21st really helps you take advantage of that.
Our students are here to answer questions. I'd like both Olivia and Dakota to talk about your student organizational involvement thus far on IU's campus.
Yeah, so I am just finishing up my term as president for the 21st Century Scholars Leadership Corps, and Olivia is going to be taking over as president next year, so I'm leaving it in very capable hands. But Leadership Corps started as a volunteer group. We at IU Bloomington felt so strongly and felt so grateful for our opportunity to study at the campus with the 21st Century Scholarship that we decided to give back to the community. And over the last year and a half, we evolved that volunteer group to be a leadership group. So we still volunteer with our volunteer division in the community and at IU Bloomington, but we also work on personal and professional development programs and series, such as how to use LinkedIn, how to work on your elevator pitch and networking with employers. And then we also have a community and social involvement aspect to it, where we really want our students and our scholars to come together and form a community where we feel we're all one group, and we have that sense of family and that peer network that we're trying to build that way as well.
Thank you, Dakota. So like she said, I'm the president of this organization, and she gave an amazing spiel, so I won't go any more about that. I am also part of the IU Student Foundation, which is an organization that puts on the Little 500 bicycle race, which is, if you don't know, the largest like collegiate activity like in the world. It's crazy to be a part of that. I've met like Mark Cuban through this program, blew my mind. And I also found an internship through IU with IUPD. As I mentioned, I am a criminal justice major. So right now I'm actually going through the police academy with IUPD. And then at the end of the summer, I will be a fully certified police officer. And during my senior year, I will work part-time at IUPD, like doing what's actively involved in law enforcement, what I'm searching like as a police officer, and still going to school and furthering myself in my academics.
So put yourself back into middle school. Think about when you were a middle school student. What words of wisdom would you give yourself in preparation for career exploration? I know many of us may not even had a thought beyond Michael's initial question that people hear, what do you want to do? So how would you translate that with all this information you heard and words of wisdom to those middle school students?
Yeah, so when I was in middle school and even in high school, we had like electives we had to take. In middle school, they were required, and they'll really give you a variety of different things. So like art, and I think we had one about like design and technology, and different things like that. So electives are really important because they get outside of the main subjects as reading and math and science. And in high school, I really took advantage of that because I started to take a couple business electives, and then I decided this is what I really like to do. And I took every single one my high school had. And that's how I decided that I wanted to do business in college. And so that's kind of how I chose my career path, is like I just explored the different opportunities that I had through these electives.
So building off of what Dakota said about electives, it's okay not to know what you want to do. I promise, like you'll figure it out. I've changed my major 3 times, and I finally settled in something that I love. You're young, so like you don't need to plan out your whole life. Of course, like it's important to think ahead and think of the future, but you have time. I chose IU like the last day, like it was even possible to think about like picking a college. I was just very indecisive, but don't stress too much. Take electives, figure out what works for you and makes you happy.
I'd like to open the floor up for questions from anybody, students, parents, staff, and colleagues.
So I just wanted to say that your stories are amazing stories and great examples of what we can do. Could you talk a little bit about time management and how you balance all of the amazing opportunities that you've taken advantage of?
Yeah, I think as everything, one of the biggest things I've learned is find what works for you. So personally, I'm very much a structured person. I like to plan things out far in advance. And so I utilize different calendar systems, taking notes, really working on my own system for making lists and prioritizing that kind of stuff. But I know other people who really are kind of like, they're the kind of people who just think the night of like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this, this, and this, and that's going to be my like to-do list for tomorrow. And that's how they do every single day versus me. I'm like a monthly and weekly planner. Like this is coming up in the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to start on it, in 3 days. So it really just kind of figure out what works for you and how you best manage your time. And that way you can be the most successful person and version of you instead of trying to like fit somebody else's mold.
Time management, wow. I think it's something that I've finally got down in my 4th year of college now. It's a process. It's not something that comes easy to everybody. My freshman year, I don't know how many times I was late to something. I forgot about something because I stretched myself too thin. I didn't know how to manage my time. I forgot an exam once. It happens, you know. I think it's just about experience for me, knowing what worked. Like Dakota said, I knew that I needed to have something physical, like a planner, to see what was going on and to really like understand how my time was going to work. Knowing that I need more time to study on exams and quiz than most people, I think that was important to me to realize that I need more help and I need to focus on school more than others, and just like knowing myself and what I need to focus on.
And sometimes time management needs change from semester to semester, depending on that course, the courses that you're taking and the commitments that you have taken on. So it's not, time management is not sometimes one of those things that's completely mastered. You always have to be refining and figuring out new ways, or at least I am at this ripe old age that I am still trying to figure out creative ways to get it all done. But that's part of that great learning experience that is college, because it's a relatively safe environment with lots of resources to help you figure out what systems work best for you.
Olivia, maybe put in context when you were in middle school to today. So now you've kind of chosen maybe more of a law enforcement track. What in your middle school experience and when you were that age can you look back on now and say, oh yeah, I was interested in XYZ, and maybe that started, driving me more toward this path that you end up on today. So, you have trial and error, but what are some of those thought processes you were going through in those days that kind of put you on this path to saying, I've changed my major 3 times and now this is kind of where I'm leaning?
That's actually an interesting question. I was absolutely not interested in law enforcement until about my sophomore year of college. Nobody in my family is law enforcement officers. I didn't really know much about it or had much access to this career field. But one day I decided to take a criminal justice class as an elective, and I figured out that this is something I'm passionate about and interested in. And then IU has an amazing opportunity where I believe it's the only one in the nation where, as a senior in college, you're allowed to work as a part-time officer, so you can gain education at the same time as professional experience. It's just such an amazing opportunity. I feel like I had to take advantage of it.
So one of the sources that we provided, Lisa posted in the link, is our newsletter. So a lot of our students find out about opportunities through the newsletter. Dakota and Olivia also send out opportunities through their 21st Century Scholars Leadership Corps organization, whether it be professional development, programs in collaboration with the Career Development Center and other partners, as well as the volunteerism. So there is constantly, going to the question that Bryant asked, there's communication from all over the university that you will receive once you become a student at Indiana University. So the issue will constantly be checking your email and deciding what you want to spend your time doing as part of that time management piece. So if you talk to anybody that's here at IU, they will tell you a few things. You will never go hungry because there's programs with food everywhere when you're on campus. There are constantly programs, whether it be purely academic in nature, lectures that are taking place, where if it's purely social mixer in orientation, they're taking place, and other programming according to your interests. So it was mentioned in the chat that we have a number of student organizations. It was mentioned by Marcia as well. There is everything from a Quidditch club, if you're a Harry Potter fan, to a literature club, if you love reading science fiction or what have you, to organizations such as the 21st Century Scholars Leadership Corps. So the opportunities abound. Look at our newsletter. You'll see what kind of values we have as an organization here as the 21st Century Scholars, you will see it's heavily related to career opportunities and also highlighting some of our alum again to promote that network piece that we have. So although it's summer, we still are in motion here on campus ensuring that the scholars receive appropriate information that they may be able to take advantage of during the summer.
I'll add to that to say that those are all excellent resources, especially when you get to an IU campus. But there are also resources that you can check out as a pre-college student. You can always check out your local library. Your schools may promote certain opportunities for you. IU, we have pre-college summer programs. A number aren't in session this summer, but a number have gone virtual. So be sure to check those out as well. I put a couple links in the chat earlier, but two sites that you might want to look at as a pre-college student is the precollege.indiana.edu, and you can sort and filter by your interest, by your grade level, the different opportunities that are available, and then the collegeready.indiana.edu. And that's the web page for our community and school partnerships page, where we've got a number of resources, and we can always serve as a connection point to other opportunities that you might be wanting to explore.
I have one last plug before Julia closes us out. Again, remembering that as a 21st Century Scholars, you receive your state scholarship, and that is for tuition and some fees. And if you qualify, which most of our 21st Century Scholars do, you'll receive an additional covenant, which goes towards your room and board and other costs associated with attending college. It drastically reduces the cost of attendance. With that said, the students that are here can attest to what a value that is and how that has helped their opportunity to attend Indiana University. So please keep in mind, this is one of the benefits to coming to Indiana University as it relates to overseas study. If you choose a IU sponsored overseas study opportunity, that 21st Century Scholarship and that covenant is applied just as if you were here at IU instead of being in Barcelona, for example, to cover those costs associated with study abroad. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Vince. So to cap everything, we know that you've heard a lot of great resources and examples today. You're not expected to memorize all of them or have furiously jotted down notes. We have recorded the session. You'll get access to that and the handouts and resources for today. And as always, you can always reach out to anyone on the call. We are all resources to help support you in your journey. So don't hesitate to let us know how we can do that. Want to say thank you to our presenters today and for the wonderful information that you shared with us. Thank you to the students who joined us to share from their perspectives. And thank you to the participants for joining us. This is all for you, and we're excited to join you on this journey. So thank you and take care. Have a great Saturday. Bye, everybody.